have the world stage. There are several entities known as states. For this explanation, we have a few important states present: the USA, the UK, Syria, and Iraq. Here they play a game of cards, their cards representing their assets, including people, military, industry, and so on. In this metaphor, they are all the same color, showing complete control. When the color changes, it implies other influences over their assets, such as people. We could analyze many influences, but in this case we'll analyze one, and that is ISIS. According to BBC, in June of 2014, ISIS declared itself a caliphate, and state governed in accordance with Islamic law. They're an extremist group that is prone to extreme violence and have warranted the notice of the international stage, especially in Syria and Iraq. Classic realism sees ISIS's desire for power because it promises power to those who follow. It has also become a threat to the powers that be. Though it can be helpful as they make alliances to stop this threat, if it gets out of hand, as it seemingly is, it can be a threat to the infrastructure that the democracies of this world have worked so hard to create. Classic realism also recognizes the cyclic nature of history, this being no exception. As SB in The Economist states, ISIS is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. Structural realism is similar, but it focuses on the highest authorities, the states. Structural realists may also perceive ISIS as an intergovernmental organization that is a natural evolution of the processes happening in the world today that will rise above the current states as a new international power. Though this is a possibility, it is unlikely, as ISIS is just an IGO, and structural realists would more likely support the powers that be to overcome the IGO. Now we move to liberalism. In this perspective, we focus on the balance of powers. ISIS is a clear threat to the current powers and is trying to topple them. This leads to stronger alliances to help stop ISIS among the states that are threatened. An example is the UN in cooperation with the US. As mentioned in Cooper and Schmidt's New York Times article, the strikes were a major turning point in President Obama's war against the Islamic states, all in the hope for sustained peace. Now we move to neoliberalism, which focuses on IGOs and their effect on the overall governing bodies. Now, neoliberalism focuses on IGOs, both good and bad. For instance, good ones being the UN and the IMF, which help global economics and politics. But this can be interrupted by bad IGOs, such as ISIS. In conclusion, ISIS is a serious threat that needs to be analyzed and dealt with in the proper fashion. We obviously have many different perspectives that shine light on different aspects that can help or hinder our progress in doing this. Thank you, and I hope you are more aware of ISIS and how we can potentially